Okay, so we're going to start off with one of the, for lack of a better term, holiest laws in physics, right? Which is that energy must be conserved, mass as well. And so what that basically states is that energy cannot be created, it can only be transformed from one form to another. And I'm going to highlight that here. Transformed is what we actually always deal with, or almost always deal with. So in a closed system, the total mechanical energy stays the same. And when we say the total mechanical energy, we're primarily talking about the measurable potential energy and kinetic energy. And so the idea, though, is that energy can transfer. So you could take potential energy and turn it into kinetic energy, or you can take kinetic energy and turn it into potential, or you can kind of do a little bit of both, right? You got X amount of energy, some of it will remain as potential, and the rest goes as kinetic. So the idea is that it can transform, and furthermore, you can transform within each form. What I mean by that is there are several types of potential energy, right? There's elastic, there's chemical, there's gravitational, there's electric. And so you can convert between those forms first within each other and then convert to kinetic energy. But regardless of how many transformations you undergo, the amount of energy is always going to be the same. So we'll start off with one little energy transfer experiment where we can see this happening. So for the first one here, you had a couple. You had chemical to gravitational. Actually, I would say chemical to kinetic first. Then, so that was kind of the first part. The second part is it floated or moved up. And that would be kinetic, right? Because it's moving. So that's your kinetic energy. And then finally, over here, so if that's the second part, finally, and I'll write this part here. So it goes from here to there. Then finally, it reached max height. Now, the idea here is that whenever chemical energy was stored, that's what gave all of its ability here. And so if it had less chemical energy, if it was a smaller piece, I would see that it wouldn't have gone as high, okay, or as fast. And so let's say if I started off with, and again, we're just making up a number here, but 40 joules of chemical potential, then the max that it could have is 40 joules of kinetic energy. And so in a closed system, we say that the energy in is equal to the energy out, okay? Now, the expanded version of this formula is that the initial potential energy plus the initial kinetic energy, so those PEIN, sometimes you just see PEI and KEI. So PEI plus KEI is equal to PEF plus KEF, and this is the general equation, but it will slightly change depending on the situation. So we're going to move right into our first scenario. You have one where an object is dropped from a height. So take this, and this is at max height. So let's say my height here is max height, and then it's dropped. At the beginning here, it has full maximum, or I should say full gravitational potential. The minute I let go, that potential energy converts into kinetic energy. What that means is that the initial potential energy is going to equal the final kinetic energy. Now, why is that the case? If we take a look at the object dropped at max height. So let's say I have a hill here, Okay, and we have the object. And this is the height. So we'll label that as h. Okay, now that object, it has full potential, right? Because it's at max height. So P full, and then in brackets due to max height. And that's the PEI, that's the initial potential energy. Now, if it's just waiting at that top, so much like the ball here, just waiting here, that ball or object isn't moving. So its KEI is going to be 0. Then it travels down here. And as it's traveling, your PE converts, right? It's losing potential energy, but it's gaining kinetics. And then right before it hits the ground, so right over here. And so if I were to expand this formula here, and I write it all out, well, I know that the initial here is 0, because it's not moving. And then the final potential energy, since it does not have a height, or it's negligible, is also going to be 0. So the only thing that remains is the PEI, the initial potential energy, and the final kinetic energy. So if I go like this and I shoot it up. All right, so I want you to see what happened here. So it went up, and then when it went to its max height here, we notice that the object has stopped, moved. So it had an initial movement, and then as soon as it reached the top, it stopped moving, and it stayed there. This is scenario 2. Here, though, at the bottom, the height is 0, but it has an initial kinetic energy, right? This movement here is your AEK or KEI. I wrote E, but it should be KEI. Well, if this doesn't have a height, that means that this is going to be 0. And then if this is still, then that means that the final kinetic energy is 0. And we saw that when it just stood still at the top of that hill, or the top of the incline. So then when we have an item that moves up to max height, we can jump to this formula where it's KEI, the initial kinetic energy, is equal to the final potential energy. So it's the inverse of the first scenario. The third scenario is when there's an object at max height. So here it is. So this could be like our first height. And then this is the second height. This would be the new height. And so object at max height rolls down or moves down to a new height and is still moving at that new height. So at first, though, you're at max heights, you're waiting at the top of the hill. So imagine yourself like on a bike and you're about to go. Well, when you're about to go, you're not moving. Now you're at max height here though. So over here, max height, I'm gonna write max H. That means that PEI is equal to max. That's the maximum PEI. Then you move, and then you end up over here. Now there is some height. So we're gonna write for PE final, we're gonna write not 0. It's gonna be less, it's not gonna be maximum, but it's not going to be 0. And same with your kinetic energy. It's not its fastest, but it is going to have some value since it continues to move. So this is also going to be not 0. But in total, you really just look at where you start and where you finish. So if I'm thinking about the equation here, well, at the beginning, this is 0. right? KE is 0. So we're going to write 0 here. This is not 0, so I'm going to keep it. At the end, it's not 0, so I'm going to keep it. And KEF is not 0 as well. So our final, you could say equation here is going to be PEI is equal to PEF plus KEF. The final scenario is a pendulum at an angle. And so remember that we can think about this part is at equilibrium. So it starts here, and then you've pulled it upwards like this to at an angle of theta. So what ends up happening here is at this point, right, it's going to have potential energy. Now it's not moving, so it's going to have PEI. It's not moving, so the KEI is going to be 0. Now, at equilibrium, and this is important, at equilibrium, your kinetic energy is max. So it travels the fastest, it whips through equilibrium. Now, what we're going to have to do is, for this scenario, okay, if we want to figure out the height difference here, right? So, you would get a change in height from here to here, like a vertical height. To get the change in height, we're going to need trigonometry. After you get that height, then, and only then, can we go PEI is equal to EKF. But that EKF, the reference point here, okay, is going to be at equilibrium. So in this scenario, because an item is dropped, in this case a 2.0 kilogram ball, we know that this is scenario 1. So if I'm drawing it out here, and I can understand that this entire height is 10.0 meters, and then I got my 2.0 kilogram ball over here, it drops, and I want to know what the speed is here. Well, I know that the formula is going to be my initial potential energy is going to equal the final kinetic energy, or I could say instead of EK final, I could write KE final. And remember that this is due to the fact that at the beginning there's no movement, and at the end there's essentially no height. So this formula expands into mgh is equal to half mv squared. And now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in all our variables and isolate, well, for the v over here. And after plugging that in the calculator, remember to use brackets, we get about 14 meters per second. And this, of course, will be right before the ball hits the ground. So this is a typical pendulum question. So we've got the pendulum pulled back 30 degrees, which I drew as a dotted line here. The length of the pendulum itself is 2.0 meters. So remember, when it comes to the energy transformation, it's the potential energy over here, the initial, that'll eventually transform into kinetic energy as it's passing through the equilibrium point here. So our main equation is going to be PEI equals KEF. However, when we're expanding this and going into mgh equals half mv squared, that h over here refers to the change in height that the pendulum experiences as it's pulled back. So it's actually this here. So what we have to do is we have to find out this side of the right triangle that is formed. And the right triangle formed would be this, if you can kind of see. It's a little bit indirect, but this would be the right triangle formed. And since your pendulum can't get any longer than 2 meters, this would be the hypotenuse, right? You always label the biggest magnitude as the hypotenuse in one of these triangles. And then our side here would be 2.0 times cos theta, which in this case would be cos 30. And then we would take the difference between those two to get the change in height. So I would say here that the change in height is equal to your 2.0 meters minus 2.0 cos 30 degrees. And then when we plug that in, we get 2.0 meters minus 1.732 meters. And then the change in height for us to finally plug into that equation would be about 0.268 meters. So that's this area here, right? That is 0.268 meters. Okay, so now that we got our numbers here, let's plug it in. And finally, we're going to isolate for the speed over here. And so after carefully plugging that into our calculator, we get about 2.29 meters per second. Since we want two significant digits in our answer here, we would put 2.3 meters per second. And that would be the speed that it reaches when it goes past the equilibrium point here, which means where it started. And that's the spot where your pendulum would be swinging the fastest. So that's how we know that it's there. So in this question, it's really the scenario where an object that starts at a new height moves, or starts at an old height, moves to a new height and kind of keeps going at that height. And so we know that there's going to be some speed at the new height. Of course, the maximum speed would be at the bottom here, but we're not asking about that. So at the beginning, since there is no movement, or your V is equal to 0, then we could say that your KEI equals 0. So at the top, you're just going to have your initial potential energy that's going to be maxed out. Now at the bottom, you're going to have your final potential energy, and you'll have kinetic energy because there is some movement to the speed. So my working formula here is going to be PEI is equal to your final potential energy plus your final kinetic energy. And once we understand that this is the working formula, all we really have to do is just isolate for our final speed here. And so I'm going to expand this first, and then we're going to isolate. And so finally, when we plug this into our calculator, we'd get a speed at the 2.0 part of the hill here of about 7.7 meters per second. And that's, of course, when we consider significant digits and all that.